Well, it's well known that Black entrepreneurs don't receive as much money from VC firms, nor are they well represented in VC firms themselves. So to chat this, we are joined now by Albrey Brown. He's the head of diversity, equity, and inclusion at Airtable. Albrey, thank you so much for joining us today. I want to start off with some of the news that we got just the other day out of SoftBank, that they've created a $100 million plus fund for entrepreneurs of color. What are your thoughts on an initiative and a move like that?
I think that's a great move. I think any money that's being repositioned to go into Black founders, people of color, marginalized communities is always a win. I do wonder if the throwing money at the problem without a holistic strategy, what will happen in the long term. But I think in the short term, that's definitely the right move.
So about that, what does a holistic strategy look like to you? Because, this is not the first time we've heard of, an investment firm, a VC firm saying, hey, we actually want to funnel more money to women entrepreneurs, to Black entrepreneurs, to entrepreneurs from marginalized communities. So what does a holistic strategy or solution look like for you beyond just throwing money at the problem?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, in the tweet that I posted a couple of days ago, I cited that the intent behind these funds is great, but the language to me and the reactionary vibe of the language seems somewhat dangerous in the sense that I feel as though marginalized communities, Black founders specifically, are seen as, corporate social responsibility. Rather than investments. And I think a holistic strategy would be first looking inside of these companies and figuring out whether they feel that these investments are on par with investments they put in other communities, or whether it's corporate social responsibility work. So I think that's first and foremost. The first step is just looking inwardly and asking yourself, do you see the landscape? And do you see that Black founders, people of color, marginalized folks are just not, and just as, or even more capable of bringing returns as other founders who you might invest in? I think then the second piece is doing your research. I wonder how much research SoftBank has on how many Black and brown founders they are out there, how they're positioned, what they're experts in the changing market. If they haven't done their research, but they said that they're going to put $100 million towards this, then I think they've already skipped a really important step. And then third, after you do your research, you need to validate that like you would with any investment. And that's by reaching out to experts who are already doing this work, who are already invested in those communities. And, I could say Arlen Hamilton at Backstage Capital, Melinda Shoemaker Hodge Dixon at Founder Gem, Jared Tingle at Harlem Capital, Michael Siebel, Twitch co-founder and partner at Y Combinator, are all folks who've had their hands in this community for a long time. And if SoftBank isn't talking to them and paying them for their expertise, then I think they're already making a big mistake. And then lastly, or second to lastly, I'll say that, is SoftBank here for the movement or for the moment? It's often said that VCs don't invest in snapshots, they invest in movies. And I see a lot of VCs saying, hey, I'm going to open up my office hours to only Black founders in the month of June, or, hey, I want to help address structural racism. Can you please, put something on my calendar for the next 2 months? When we all know that at the end of the day, these are long-lasting relationships that need to be built. This isn't just a 1 month, a 2 month thing. It's a 2 year, it's a 5 year time horizon. And if there's no investment and there's no thought in that sort of timeline, then I think it's destined to fail. And then lastly, as Tiffany Ashley Bell and Webb Smith has said, you have to make the hire or send the wire. And you need to immediately, like SoftBank has done, say we're going to put money into these communities by hiring folks and by putting that investment in. And then lastly, letting folks fail. There have been many, many failures by white co-founders, Theranos, Magic Leap, Juicero, WeWork, Zenefits, Color, the Yo app, if you remember that, getting $2 million in funding. And I think Black founders have not been given the latitude to fail on that scale, which is another problem that needs to be addressed.
All right, Albrey Brown from Airtable. Thank you so much for joining us. An incredible conversation. I hope we can continue it in the future.